Hello and welcome to the 111th episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. We are very honored to have two special guests, Gale Cummings and her husband, Bruce Cummings of Norton, Massachusetts, who are breeders and owners of champion Irish Terriers and involved in many other canine-related activities. I am so honored to have you.
Thank you.
It seems that we've known each other for many, many years.
Right.
But tell us about, how did you get involved in Irish?
Well, it was 1965 that I first saw an Irish Terrier. And as Brian knew my mother, Edla Cummings, that had wire fox terriers and smooths, Scotties, Westies, I was really taken aback by the Irish Terrier and the amazing personality that the Irish had that was different from the other short-legged terriers. So in 1965, Tori Rivera, was at our house, and she had her Rebel Irish Terrier. And then I fell in love. And then about 1973, I got my first Irish from Sue Young. And
Who is still very active.
Still very active. And that was Reba. My first Irish Terrier was Reba. And Reba stayed with me, for a good 14, 15 years. And at that end of her life, I was able to meet my current love, Gale, and we got married in 1987, and my brother had a litter of Irish, and I think it was 1990 that we first got our Irish, and Gale and my mom hit it off amazingly, and from that end, we started to have 1, 2, 3. Gale had litter, had started the show, and then from there, Gale and my mom would go to many of the shows that Brian, that you were going to.
Yes, we
and
saw them every weekend.
And that became what happened on the weekend. And
those were great days for dog lovers.
Oh, absolutely.
We had so much fun then.
The golden years, for
Yes.
sure. Absolutely.
So from there, I'll let Gale finish up how you continued in your breeding program and how things started to go to the current day.
Well, after meeting Bruce, we got married in 1987. So his love of Irish Terriers certainly grew on me. And Edla, I couldn't say more about her. She caught my heart. Her love of dogs, and I had gotten my biology degree, so the dogs and genetics just filled the plate. And Edla's love of terriers and her sense of humor, I was captive. And the Irish, I just love their spunk. I love terriers.
They are the daredevils.
Yes, and they really epitomize that. Their spunk, daredevil image, their intelligence. They love children. They love people. They're very. They can be a little feisty with other dogs, but they do it for fun. And they really enjoy just living life. So all terriers are wonderful.
You've bred many, many wonderful champions.
Thank you, yes. And I've shown most of them myself, and even to a grand championship level down to Orlando at the AKC National, where I got a group 2 with my Shane. And that's actually, this is Tori. She's a 2-year-old, but Shane is her grandfather. So we're continuing the lineage with great pedigree, great temperament and health is something that's premier for us. And just working the dogs, they're so intelligent.
The Irish is a very versatile breed.
Absolutely. The versatility in performance as well as conformation. We've had a lot of excitement and fun, and the dogs too, in nose work, the tracking events, barn hunts, and currently in therapy. So even our retired dogs or younger dogs are enjoying that, to meeting folks that are in nursing rehabilitation, healing from surgery. We ventured into those areas where they've had dogs at home, and it really has filled their hearts to see the Irish come and just give their endearing love.
One of our biggest pleasures now of folks who've had our Irish that call us, and they've known us for close to 20 to 25 years, that come back and say, do you have any puppies? And we're so honored to have folks that have come back and gotten another puppy, or even a third generation.
They're like potato chips. You can't just have one.
So we do
Right.
have some folks that the children of the first placement of an Irish, the children have come back now. They're all grown up and asked, do we have one? The folks, it was just recently came back, and he grew up with one of our Irish. But that brings us to an interesting, when we first talk with folks about, have you had a terrier before? Some of the background that we try to get with folks is, are you prepared to work and have a terrier? Do you know that's different from having a lab? That's different from having, say, a toy breed. So,
Talk about terriers.
well, Gale, why don't you say the spiel that we do when we first say why you need to have a sense of humor to own a terrier. Obviously,
Right, two things.
yeah.
Two things we say you need: patience and a sense of humor. And it is that endearing quality about the breed that really captures your heart. It's like you look into their eyes and it's very expressive. And people say it's the devil may care, but there's somebody in there. So we'll say, we'll look into your eyes and it looks into your soul. And there's really somebody in there. Their endearing quality of just, they capture your heart, and they give you a run for the money too. So you got to be prepared for that.
But I personally had many years
And
of
he
fun.
knows. Definitely.
42 years
Yes.
of having dogs, and the terriers are very dear to me.
Absolutely. So we have people that are just new to the breed. We can certainly give them those endearing qualities, but it's like you want to come meet them. We're certainly open our doors for folks to come visit, come meet the breed. And they inevitably come with their children, and the dogs see the children as like little leprechauns. They really do find them very exciting, but they're so calm around them, and I think that's what the parents find exciting, is the steadiness of the breed, the sensibility of the breed. They really know that the kids are innocent and just real life in the now, and the dogs love that.
So as they come for first time, interested in the first time, we say one of our requirements is, do you have a fenced yard? Because if they, as you said, Brian, daredevil, they see a squirrel, they see the neighbor's cat, they see the individual jogging down the road, they might come to you and they might say, I'll see you later, I'm gonna go chase what's primal to me, and that's that squirrel. And you can yell and say, come back here, but only if I want to.
And off they run.
And off
Right.
they run. But that's the thing of making sure people are educated and start to understand that if you don't keep their mind active, they will be very, very, I'll just say, chew on your furniture, or they might do something that you go, oh my God, what happened there? But it's that interaction. And the other thing that we say to them is they love everybody in the family. They're just not a one person. If they're in the family, dad comes home, mom comes home, the kids come home, I love everybody. And that's the one thing we say that is so, again, endearing, lovable about the breed, about how they just want to be part of the family. The breed, honestly, is not for everybody, but we feel that once you really get to know the breed, you will understand, like many of the terrier breeds, just how wonderful the terrier breeds incorporate. Terriers, again, from an age perspective, the males, I would say, mature a little bit older than the females.
Yep,
Slower, but again, the females seem to be very, very aware of all their surroundings a little bit earlier than the males. The males seem to be like teenage boys sometimes, like, hey, just want to be
goofy. Yeah.
But we have been blessed with health and temperament, and a real history of successes in the Irish Terriers. I know sometimes that our activities took us into conformation, and Gale was very active with the Irish Terrier Club of America, and she was coordinator of judges education for the Irish Terrier Club of America. And in that, very much would have presentations that showed Kerry Blue Terriers, Irish Terriers, and soft coat and Wheatons, and kind of talk about those breeds and how.
I remember going to that seminar.
Yeah. And so, again, we feel that, like yourself, we bring in a lot of the golden age of dog showing. Again, Mom would take me when I was 4 or 5 to the bench shows, especially in town Boston, and grab me by the ear and say, "You sit on that bench." And I can remember at the armories and
At Eastern, many
Right.
decades ago.
Right. And it's funny because one of the greatest things I gave Mom was, I think back in maybe it was 2013 or so, I was asked to join Eastern, and she saw me come from that one time, and we had a judge come to the house, and I was probably, maybe 13 or 14, doing a lot of kennel work, because sometimes we'd run 20 to 25 dogs, and boarding. So the judge came, and he looked around, and he looked at me, and he said, "So, what's your favorite breed? What do you like? What's your best breed?" And I looked at him back in the eye, and I said, "One of anything." So it always comes down to that love of the dogs, and I can't ask for anything more now to be retired. I had an engineering job in biotech for the last 18 years, and when I retired, I was able to go to a class that was offered down at Providence College through Windwalker, and they credentialed me into canine therapy, being a facilitator, and this was 2016. And there we started our business called Canine Presence.
That we are going to talk about in the next segment.
That would be great. And at that time, I can't ask for anything more to be able to visit folks with my dog, being retired, to be as active as I can in the breed. I guess I think that the thing that Gale might talk about is some of the real differences about an Irish Terrier coat, or maybe the head, or something that makes the Irish stand out.
I remember bringing a Carrie to a seminar. There were Wheatons involved and Irish. There was a multiple group, and I can't help but think John Honig. John was such a wonderful person.
Absolutely.
And John was there that day with his wife and talking to the other prospective judges about, and he said, bring that Carrie over. And he had us stacked and everything. And John was explaining the differences between the Carrie and the Wheaton and everything. We learned so much from these people.
Yes. That was a real cornerstone of the judge's education, having the three, because really there's a lot of similarities in sizes and different conformation aspects, and then you could pull out the differences. And for the Irish, their headpiece is very distinctive, that wedge shape and the daunting eyes, and they were bred to hunt and be very fierce at that. And the coat needed to be a broken coat, which was a double coat. It's a hard broken coat and an insulated, almost sealskin undercoat to keep them warm from the elements, because they were farm dogs and ratters.
Gale, where was the breed developed?
It was really developed, the club started in England and in Ireland. They had their clubs and they converged back in the early 1800s. And then it came to America later on in the mid to late 1800s, through Boston, as a matter of fact. And it was Jeremiah O'Callahan with the Kilvara line that is the foundation of many of the breeds today. But what was distinctive was that coat and the headpiece, and it's very distinctive. It's something that we want to maintain. There's different types people talk about, and that can vary a little bit in size and perhaps a longer headpiece and so forth. But basically you want that 18-inch dog. So it's something my mentor Bob Clyde of the Cocksure line used to say, you'd carry it under your arm when you were on horseback. So you don't want those large dogs. An 18-inch dog really comes to your knee when you look at it that way. And that coat is pristine, virtually hyperallergenic, and
it's, as I said, very versatile. They can do it, most everything.
Absolutely. And they really enjoy it. And like Bruce was talking about, keeping their mind busy, they're so intelligent. That really tuckers them out more than a good walk down the street. They're always thinking, and
I've been to barn hunts and seen earth dog thing. They really excel at these things.
They really do. They love it. They really do enjoy that.
And folks say, do the Irish, do they love the water? Well, if you make that activity fun, they certainly will love the water. We obviously introduce them because we have, in this weather, our short pools that they go and play with. But we just got a great video the other day of one of our young males who about a year old now, and he's in a pool, and the owner shot a video, and he's playing upside down in the water. So if you make that activity fun, enjoyable, they'll know exactly that you're into it, that energy that you have gets transferred. As well is if there's something negative that's happening, that you say, okay, no big deal. As you know, Brian, a lot of that energy goes right down the lead. And as if the handler is on top of it and understands their dog, they can protect the dog or they can encourage the dog amazingly, but these dogs are right with you, that use that term.
They're very perceptive.
It's like a shadow sometimes, and but that's again the beauty of the intelligence, and the fact that again someone is not feeling well, they're right beside them on the bed. Someone is coming in from a long journey, the first one to greet them at the door. So it's really an amazing breed, and I'm really proud to first discover it, like I said, in '65. Had my first one in 1973, and then we got married and started to be breeders, and AKC Award of Merit for breeding, and we're pleased just that we were able to come and share some
I have
of
a
the.
question for both of you. What can we be doing? I've had this discussion with many terrier people over the years. What can we be doing to get more kids involved?
Well, I think one of the biggest things we did with our all-breed club of Ladies Dog Club, we have a show in Rentham every year. It's usually the first week of June. We utilize the kids from the 4-H to come and help us. And it's really important to educate. I know you've had one of the gals, Lori Pelletier, that worked down to the Aggie.
And she was on our show with her Norfolk.
Yes.
And we had such a good time with her.
Absolutely. And she's been an integral teacher that has actually helped bring the kids to our club.
And so has Tracy Liberty.
Yes.
Has been wonderful.
Absolutely.
She was on too.
So we really want to capture these young kids, get them educated to the breed. The AKC is also doing many things that they can do to bring in opportunities for puppy groups at the shows. So I think we really utilize those dog shows because you already have a platform set to educate.
I recently judged a Pee-wee
Yes,
class,
4 to 6 month old puppies.
and the kids were fabulous.
No.
And it's so exciting for them. They don't have to have the special dog, but it's getting them into it and just having fun. You need to instill that fun like it was in the golden ages. And we all joined together. So I think encouraging them, utilizing them at the shows, and introducing them to all these great breeds.
And we have what now? Almost 200 breeds.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
Yep.
When I go through I have to look and study and say, what is this? I haven't seen one of these.
Yes, absolutely. So more opportunities to really put that in the front, and even in the community. So even if it's not the 4-H, the community that we have that come to the dog shows are excited to see the new breeds. Get the catalog and look and see, where is this breed going to be, over in this ring or that ring. So it really brings them back. And COVID was a hit for us because we weren't allowed to have the public, and Bailey could have a show. So now that we're open back up, we can bring them in and have different attractions that get them excited.
There are shows this weekend at the Providence County.
Absolutely. Yep. So we hope everybody comes to those shows, and all that information can be sought at the akc.org website. And
Education. And I hope that I do this with this show.
oh, that's yes.
That we keep,
Yeah.
there is such a strong need for education. Good proper education.
Absolutely. And thank you for this forum to allow us all to come and reach out to you folks out there.
111 episodes.
111th episode. That's good luck.
That's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
So what are you going to do with her now? She will continue to do what?
Well,
She needs to get another title.
she needs to get another title. In her therapy dog, she's finishing her championship. She comes from a long line of champions and grand champion, and she's currently gotten her certification with myself. I'm now credentialed through the Windwalker and the Providence College, and for her therapy dog. So she's got her novice title, which is 10 visits, and then it continues on to a variety of number of visitations with acceleration and different titles.
And we will discuss this in the next session. But I do have a question about how is the Irish doing in Ireland?
The Irish is doing pretty well in Ireland. As part of my breeding program, I actually went to Dublin about 3 or 4 years ago, prior to the COVID, and I brought back a dog from Ireland. So he has sired many lovely pups for me and helped develop the breed. And this was a breeder, Carliam's Irish Terriers, that's in Dublin. And his line was working through a Swiss line, Camilla Flessner, who's in Switzerland, and she and Gerald Delaney brought their lines together. So I brought one over, and they've brought me to different shows while I was there. And I have to say, in the United States, we have the best Irish here. But it was a wonderful opportunity to see their breeds, and they really excel with the terriers as well. They get very excited about it, promote them well.
They do.
And it's
I am
fun.
being told that it's time for segment number 1 to end. We're going to take a quick break and we will return.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.